And we're now joined by Craig Harrison, Maritime Union of New Zealand's National Secretary. Craig, do you know, you've been down at the port today, do you know anything further about what happened there this morning?
No, I think you've got pretty much what's happened. It's a fall from height, I don't know how high, and it's onto a deck of a ship, so there's no soft landings on there, so it's pretty tragic.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig, why are people still dying at our ports?
Well, I think there's multiple stuff going on. I think there's a lot of pressure on the ports to get stuff done, but what we've seen in our industry, we're only a small industry, and we've seen a lot of workers die over the last couple of years. So I think there's a mixture of pressure, expectations of cargo getting moved. I think there's a lot of hours being worked. But what's really lacking is a national standard, something that's enforceable to sort of curb some of the worst behaviours in our industry.
Well, the industry has been pulled up on some of those behaviours. Just last year, there was a scathing review of the ports of Auckland where they found significant and systemic health and safety issues, among the push for productivity. So have those issues been addressed, and are they just here in Auckland?
Well, I think Ports of Auckland's made some good progress. There's always room for continuous improvement. But I think you could transport that report to a lot of ports around the country and find it wanting. You know, it's not unheard of to find workers doing 70 hours in some parts of our country. So, we see, for instance, some companies working in the same port with different codes of practice, if you like, in-house code of practice about how they operate. So you just got to wonder, how can it be that you have two different levels of safety?
And why are workers working 70 hours a week?
Well, the demand's there.
Work, right?
Yeah, the demand's there. I think there's we've seen the freight growing over the last couple of years. It's a massive increase in freight coming across our ports. It's we've always relied on a lot of overtime being worked in the industry to the detriment of health and safety. And I think that's what's needed is some sort of regulatory overview or control that's put in place. Something like, for instance, you see in the trucking industry with truck drivers, hours of work and drive times. So
you're calling for a national inquiry into all of the ports. Who would you like to do that? Who would be best set up to do that?
I think the government should take the lead, and we've got Maritime New Zealand who would be the logical lead on that, but a partnership probably with Maritime New Zealand and WorkSafe and the industry. There's some stuff that's been going on slowly in the background, but I think it needs to be elevated and given the resources it needs to sort it out.
Do you think there's an appetite for it, Craig?
Well, there might not be an appetite for some players, but for workers there is. You know, we can't keep coming back and talking about deaths and harm in the industry.
It's dangerous work, isn't it?
It is dangerous, like all sorts, like construction. But if you put the right controls in place and they're supervised and they're managed, you can get around it.
Well, Craig, thanks so much for joining us here this evening, and we'll keep in touch with you on that inquiry.
Thank you.
Thank you.